My name is Jason. I'm 26 years old. I thought I had the perfect marriage, until I found out my wife was sneaking around with her childhood friend. She smiled, kissed me, called me love, while she was stabbing me in the back. But instead of losing it, I stayed calm. For 2 whole years I planned my move, and when I finally struck, she never saw it coming. This is the story of betrayal, silence, and the coldest revenge I've ever pulled off. She kissed him. I saw it with my own eyes. And in that moment, everything I thought was real, our marriage, her love, my peace, shattered. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stayed calm and started planning. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's a story about silent revenge. And believe me, she never saw it coming. In 2023, I was 26. Married for 3 years. Living what I thought was a steady, happy life. My wife, let's call her Sarah, was 28. Bright, charming, and always full of life. She made our house feel like home, and her laugh used to light up the room. I thought I knew her. I thought she was mine. I was wrong. It started like any normal day. She told me her childhood friend was in town and wanted to catch up. I didn't flinch. Why would I? I trusted her. I said, "Go ahead. Have fun. Let me know when you're back." And that was it. At first. But then she started meeting him, more often. Once turned to twice. Twice turned to 6 times in just 2 months. Every time, she said, "It's nothing. He's just a friend." I started feeling something wasn't right. So, one night over dinner, I casually asked, "What does he do these days?" She looked up, smiled, and said, "He's a traveler. Just roaming around." Something about that line hit me. Traveler? For 2 months? In our city? No job? No real explanation? It didn't sit right with me. That was the first crack. About 2 weeks later, she mentioned meeting him again. So I offered, "I'll drop you off." "I'll drop you off." She stiffened. Not visibly. But I caught it, just for a moment. She smiled, forced and tight, and said, "No need. I'll just take a cab." That made my stomach churn. But I didn't argue. I waited until the morning of the meetup, then said I'd drive her anyway. I made up an excuse. "I need to pass that way for errands." She looked uncomfortable but agreed. We drove in silence. When we reached the cafe, he was already there. Tall guy, a little too well-groomed for someone who just travels. I got out with her and shook his hand. That moment? I can't describe it. But it was like shaking hands with a snake. He smiled at me, but there was something smug under it. Something cold. Something that said he knew more than I did. I left. But I didn't go far. I waited. Parked nearby. And when they walked out together 20 minutes later, I followed. They didn't see me. They were laughing. Touching each other's arms. Walking way too close for old friends. Then they stopped near a quiet park trail. And she kissed him. Not a friendly goodbye kiss. Not a peck on the cheek. A slow, full kiss. That was it. No pictures. No confrontation. I just left. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt empty. On the drive home, my brain was spinning. Images, memories, all clashing inside me. Her voice when she said, "I love you." The way she smiled when she saw me. The nights we spent curled up on the couch. The way she called my name. Was it all fake? Had she already replaced me in her heart while I was still living under the same roof? When she got home later that night, she walked in casually. Dropped her bag. Looked at me on the couch and smiled. "Hey babe." I didn't smile back. Just said quietly, "How was he?" She blinked. "What?" "I saw you," I said. "I followed you. I saw you kiss him." And that's when the lies began. She gasped. "No, That's not true. I didn't interrupt. I let her spin her web. She kept going, voice rising, words stumbling. It wasn't what it looked like. I swear. He leaned in and I just looked at her. Dead in the eyes. Silently. And the longer I stared, the quieter she got. After 30 minutes of arguing, dodging and denying, she broke. Tears filled her eyes. And she whispered, "Okay, yes." I kissed him. But it didn't mean anything. I was confused. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't shout. Didn't cry. Didn't throw anything. I just nodded. Then said, "If you wanted to cheat, you should have just left me first. You didn't have to humiliate me." She broke down crying. Begging. Apologizing. She said it was a mistake. A moment of weakness. That it wouldn't happen again. That she loved me. That she was scared of losing me. I didn't say much. I just packed a bag. And I left. For 1 week, I didn't answer her calls. Didn't reply to her texts. Didn't respond to her tears. She came to my hotel once. I told the front desk not to let her in. I needed that silence. To think. To breathe. To figure out who I was without her lies clouding my world. And when I returned after that week, she was there. Waiting. I walked in. She hugged me. Cried. Kissed my hands. Begged for forgiveness. I looked at her and said one sentence. "I'll forgive you. But only if I get to sleep with someone too. And I won't tell you when." She froze. Eyes wide. Mouth slightly open. That's not the same," she whispered. I shrugged. "Neither was what you did. This is the only way I'll move past it. Take it or leave it." After hours of crying, resisting, then begging, she agreed. Reluctantly. And just like that, I was back home. But here's what she didn't know. I never planned to cheat. From the moment I caught her, I had started something far more permanent. A slow, silent plan to take my life back. And leave her with nothing. She thought we were rebuilding. Healing. Loving. But every day she smiled at me. I was moving. Money, transferring assets, and setting her up for the day I'd walk away. If you think she got away with it, think again. In part 2, the revenge begins, quietly, methodically, and without a single warning. Subscribe and stay with me, because the calm before the storm is over. She thought she was forgiven. She thought we were rebuilding. But behind every smile I gave her was a quiet, cold plan. One that would take 2 years. One that would ruin her from the inside out. When I walked back into the house after a week of silence, she hugged me like she was clinging to life. She cried, she begged, she promised. And then I gave her one sentence. "I'll forgive you, on one condition. I'll sleep with someone too. I won't tell you when or who. But it'll happen." Her eyes widened in disbelief. "That's not fair," she whispered. I shrugged. "You broke something in me. I'm not angry anymore. Just done pretending." After an hour of begging, she agreed. That was the moment she unknowingly handed me the keys to her own mental prison. She thought I was planning some affair. She lived in fear, every day. Every time I stayed out late. Every time I smiled at my phone. Every time I came home without a clear explanation. She panicked. She tried to play it cool, but I saw it in her eyes, the doubt, the suspicion, the shame. And all I did? Smile. Say nothing. Let her drown in the same uncertainty she once made me live in. But while she was obsessing over who I might be sleeping with, I was doing something much colder. I started moving money. Small amounts from our shared savings into a new account, under my sister's name. I told my wife it was for investments. She believed me. She wanted to believe we were fixing things. I slowly rerouted everything, cash, crypto, side income, until her access meant nothing. I sold off stocks, canceled joint credit cards, put our house solely in my name using a quiet legal loophole she didn't understand. She never noticed, because she was too busy stalking my phone when I left the room. I kept her guessing. Sometimes I'd leave a random name open on my phone. Once I, accidentally, left a hotel receipt in my jeans pocket, with a woman's name printed on it. She found it. Lost it. Who is she? I looked at her. Calm. Controlled. You agreed. Remember? That shut her down. She didn't sleep that night. I did. Like a baby. She was unraveling, and I hadn't even touched another woman. That was the beauty of it. She thought revenge meant cheating. But I was giving her something worse. A silent war. A 2-year mind game. Over time, she became emotionally drained. She stopped going out. Started checking my location constantly. Became clingy, insecure. Completely unlike the confident woman I once married. She brought up therapy. I agreed. But never went. She brought up starting fresh. Maybe having a baby. I nodded. But inside, I was already gone. I had quit my job and taken a new role remotely, paid under the table. I started meeting with a lawyer, finalized every asset transfer, and waited. April came, 2 years after I caught her cheating. The morning after our anniversary, she woke up smiling. She made coffee, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "We made it." I smiled back. Then the doorbell rang. She opened it, legal envelope in hand. She turned around, shaking. "Divorce papers?" I took a sip of my coffee and said, "Yes." She collapsed onto the couch, stunned. I thought we were okay," she whispered. I looked her in the eye. "You cheated on me. I never got over it. I just got smarter." She started crying, gasping for words. "But what about what you did? You said you'd sleep with someone too?" I nodded. "I said I would. I never said I did. You've been living in fear for 2 years, for nothing." Her mouth dropped open. She realized I hadn't cheated. She had tortured herself with paranoia, suspicion, and guilt, all for a lie I never made true. That was the final blow. She begged. She threatened. But I had already won. In part 3, you'll see how she tried to fight back, and how I made sure she lost everything she once took for granted. This isn't just about divorce. This is about a complete reset. And it's only getting colder from here. She thought I'd cheat. Instead, I let her destroy herself with paranoia. And when I handed her the divorce papers, she realized I never even touched another woman. But I wasn't done. The real damage was only beginning. After she read the divorce papers, she didn't speak for a full minute. She just stared at me, eyes wide, mouth trembling. Then came the outburst. "You manipulative piece of, how could you?" I stayed calm. "You cheated first. I simply matched your energy." She tried to flip it, like cheaters always do. Tried to say I was worse because I lied for 2 years. I didn't argue. I just said, "You punished yourself every single day. I didn't have to lift a finger. And now it's over." She stormed into the bedroom, slamming drawers, throwing clothes around. "You think you're going to leave me with nothing?" She tried to threaten me with court. Said she'd take me for everything I've got. That's when I dropped the second bomb. "There's nothing to take." She paused. "What do you mean?" I calmly pulled out a folder. Inside, all financial statements, asset transfers, proof of independent accounts under my family's name. "You never noticed," I said. "While you were worried about lipstick stains and hotel receipts, I was draining the foundation of your lifestyle. Legally." Her face dropped. Completely. The news spread fast. Her version? That I manipulated and abandoned her. My version? The truth. I didn't even need to exaggerate. Her own friends, many of whom had quietly suspected something back when she was meeting her childhood friend. So often, stopped answering her calls. Even her own mother said, "You broke his trust. He didn't break yours." She was devastated. Suddenly, the people she thought would take her side didn't. They weren't rooting for me either. But they understood. And they knew she had made her bed. She tried to argue about the house. Said she put so much love into it. But the paperwork had been quietly signed over to me over a year ago. She never read the fine print when I asked her to co-sign a refinance form. She signed it. Didn't read it. Didn't ask questions. Now, she didn't even legally own the kitchen she cried in. She broke down in court. At mediation, she sobbed. Begged for a second chance. Said she was ready to truly fix things now. The mediator asked if I wanted to respond. I looked at her. At the broken version of the woman who once kissed another man while I waited in a car, trusting her. And I said, "I already fixed it. I just removed the problem. That was it." No more words. The divorce was finalized in under a month. She got almost nothing. No house. No savings. No future with me. I moved out that same week, into a small but cozy apartment I'd already set up with my sister. Fresh start. No ghosts. She called a few times after the papers were signed. First to beg. Then to yell. Then just silence. She stopped. And I let her go. I didn't take revenge to hurt her. Not really. I did it to restore myself. To take back my dignity. To prove that I didn't need to scream or cheat or break down to win. Sometimes, the most powerful move is calm silence. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply walking away with everything while they're too busy falling apart. She thought she could play me. She thought I'd break. She thought wrong. In the final part, I'll tell you what happened after I left. How my life turned around, and what I learned from the most painful betrayal of my life. This isn't just about revenge. This is about growth. And freedom. Don't miss the conclusion. She cheated. I didn't yell. I didn't cheat back. I just let her believe I had. While she unraveled, I prepared my escape. When I walked away, she was already broken, and I was finally free. The first morning in my new apartment was quiet. No passive-aggressive texts. No fake apologies. No pretending. Just me. A cup of coffee. And silence. And in that silence, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. For the first time, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't wondering if I was being lied to. I wasn't watching someone pretend to love me while hiding everything behind her phone. I was just free. 2 weeks later, she texted, "I'm sorry. I've lost everything. I miss you. Can we talk?" I stared at it for a long time. A year ago, that text would have broken me. 6 months ago, I might have replied. But now I was someone else. I didn't reply. Not to punish her, but because I had nothing left to say. I started going back to the gym. Reconnected with old friends I had pulled away from during the marriage. Went on solo hikes. Joined a book club. Even tried cooking classes. It wasn't about distraction. It was about rediscovery. She had taken so much from me, not just trust, but identity. Now I was reclaiming it. One small victory at a time. Mutual friends told me she was struggling. Apparently, her childhood friend ghosted her after the divorce. He never intended to leave his fiancée. It was all just a fling for him. Her reputation tanked in her social circle. She moved back in with her mom. Had to take a job way below her skill level. No savings. No partner. No sympathy. But I didn't celebrate. I just acknowledged it. You get what you give. And sometimes, karma doesn't need help. One night, months later, I sat alone with a photo of us. Back when we first started dating. Before the lies. Before the paranoia. Before it all burned down. And for a moment I missed her. Not her now, but the version of her that once held my hand and promised forever. But then I remembered that version never really existed. She was a mask. And once it slipped, I saw the truth. I didn't miss her. I missed who I was before she broke me. And the beautiful thing is, I found that man again. Stronger, wiser, unbreakable. It took time, but eventually, I met someone new. Someone kind. Someone who didn't flinch at honesty. Someone who didn't weaponize love. I told her everything, up front. She didn't pity me. She respected me. And slowly, I started to believe and trust again. Not because she was perfect, but because I had finally healed enough to recognize red flags, and to walk away if needed. This time, I was choosing peace, not chasing it. If you're watching this and you've been cheated on, let me tell you something important. You are not weak. You are not stupid. And you do not have to become the villain to win. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is not screaming or breaking things. Sometimes, it's sitting silently, while the person who broke you realizes they can't reach you anymore. Sometimes, the best revenge is peace. I didn't destroy her. She destroyed herself. I just made sure I wasn't standing in the blast radius when it happened. And now, I sleep well. I trust again. And I never, ever look back.